and let's see how this goes.
Okay.
All right. Can everybody hear me all right? And let's see how this goes.
Okay. Well, greetings, fellow occultists, as I want to say.
All right. Hold on a second, brother. Can everybody out there hear me okay? All right. So I guess they can. I don't know. They're not saying anything. All right. So, hello and welcome to the Black Tower. I'm your host, your guide, your brother, the Sorcerer, Ahrimanahsul. Tonight, I have probably the best fucking secret weapon in the whole wide goddamn motherfucking universe with me tonight. I have my dear friend, my good brother, Frator Nebo.
Greetings.
Oh yeah, man, dude. You know, I appreciate you coming on here with me, man. One of the most important things that it struck me earlier today, and it's a key concept for those of us who are trying, when you feel like you're stuck in a rut, when you feel like you're trying to switch from one magical system to the next magical system to the next, or when you're trying to shake up the universe, trying to get shit moving, what's the most important motherfucking thing? Sometimes you have to be blasphemous as a motherfucker.
Mm-hmm. Blasphemy, yes. Let's talk about famous blasphemers.
You're damn right, man.
Giordano Bruno decided that the Earth goes around the sun, and not only that the stars are infinite, and each of the stars have planets going about it, which are inhabited. He got burned at the stake for that one. This is like the 15 or 1400s. Yeah, that was blasphemy.
Yeah, because he was around during the late 1300s, wasn't he?
1400s, yes. He was also a practicing magician.
Oh, that's heresy, brother. Can't have that. Not in the 1400s.
Oh, yeah.
You know something else that happened close to that time? The
Well,
bunny
this thing
shots.
called papal magic. Priests and whatnot were like heavy into magic and whatnot.
Hell yeah.
If the peasants tried it, they were burned for witchcraft.
Try that nowadays, man.
Yep.
Try that shit nowadays.
I can't see where people are asking questions. How do you adjust that on that?
I'll keep up with that, and we'll be more than glad to let you know when questions are asked.
Okay.
And that way, all you got to do is be the awesome motherfucker you are, and just do what you do.
Okay.
All right. So for those out there tonight, I want to say thank you first and foremost for coming and joining us. Want to do this subject on blasphemy. Why is it so important? How do you actually do it? Well, not actually. How do you do it? Because I think there's a lot of us that when we get really mad, we say, "God damn it," or "fuck it," or something like that, and they call it blasphemy. But let's work this shit to where it actually works for us magically.
Well, the big one is that's nonsense. I don't believe it. That's blasphemous.
Oh man, dude, that reminds me of we have a you're very welcome, Darius. He said thank you. Which outside of all that, let's go into a little bit of things because we got like tons of examples of what blasphemy actually is. Uh, but Frank, let's let you take us back on a history tour of the 60s, 70s, 80s
Oh well.
of blasphemy and how it was used in magic.
Well, the 60s, I kind of like, it occurred to me I didn't believe in God, but then I wound up, because the school system wasn't able to do anything with me because it's usually a bunch of stupid bitches who like don't know their ass from their elbow, and I got put into Jesuit summer school, and I had a priest. I talked to a Jesuit priest who were like pretty level-headed about those things, and I don't believe in God. He questions me what I actually do believe. I believe there's a rational basis to the universe and all that other stuff. He goes, well, you're really a Gnostic. It took me till my mid-20s to figure out that what a Gnostic was, and I am one.
You know what's funny about that is that when I was about 22, I got labeled agnostic myself.
Well,
Uh,
not agnostic, Gnostic.
Oh, Gnostic.
Yes.
Wow, that's a big difference.
Big difference. Big difference.
But you know how like you went up to that, how you went up there and you told them that you didn't believe in God in that sense?
Yeah.
That's the name as a form of blasphemy.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
it,
we're talking Jesuits here, and most Jesuits will admit that after they're priests for a while, they believe everything they have in seminary school, and then they start to think about things, that they become Gnostics. But they don't let the common people know about it. They will let the common people know it if they have a Gnostic inside, but they generally do. They follow church doctrine. But if they're honest with themselves, they become Gnostics after maybe about 15, 20 years of being priests.
yeah,
That also goes for other orders, Dominican and whatnot. Yeah.
yeah. Well, aside from Gnosticism and agnosticism, want to kind of focus on blasphemy.
Blasphemy, yes.
Okay, so with blasphemy, for example, uh, one of the very first things that I had to do was I had to when I was trying to break out of the programming of Christianity. Give me 1 second. I gotta fix something. To be able to fix the to break the programming, one of the things I had to do was blaspheme. Well, my idea of that was saying, at first it was like, I don't believe in God. Well, after a while, that's not good enough. After a while, when you're starting to get into certain magical practices, what happens is you have pre-programming that's still stuck inside your brain. So of course, the powers and forces, as soon as you start to curse God or curse Jesus or any of this other stuff, the first thing that happens is a bad chain of events, usually bad luck, you know, accidents, all kinds of weird, stupid shit. And these aren't to be put up to just, hysterics of the mind. These are actual things that actually happen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, once working through these things, to a certain degree, I had to, it wasn't just enough to say I didn't believe, but then I had to go and say, fuck God, fuck Jesus. First off, I don't need a savior. Second off, who says I was born in sin? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you know what I'm saying? And so I had to use blasphemy as a way to be able to break past that.
All right. Well, what they did in church, church, they had they used the auditorium or something. The actual church itself was well for wasn't for children. We had used an auditorium, and it was a balcony. And the priest would say a thing, you chant in Latin, which we hardly knew what they were talking about unless we were using the missal. And then you'd hear voices saying the same thing. Who the hell is that? Who's that? Who's that? And that had me thinking, that must be him. That must be what they're talking about, whatnot. So I looked behind one day and I saw a head peek out from under the balcony. I'm thinking, what deceitful, miserable crap is this?
Uh, I read Aleister Crowley. He had wrote this thing where he was talking about he was it was a curse against gods is what it was, and he was talking about he flaps his wings in the face of Buddha or something like that, and all sort of stuff.
Mhm.
And at the age of 20, that spoke volumes to me, and I went to using this as a form of breaking programming and stuff, and I used it with every system. Like I might have studied Buddhism, I might have studied Hinduism, all these different belief systems, and tried to work through them. But the one thing that I would do is I would certainly go in and I would make sure that when I created my own curse that it was against all these systems.
Mhm.
Even so much as into the Egyptian deities.
Yes.
And I know that there's going to be a lot of people going out there going, "Wow, dude, you shouldn't have done that," because it's okay to be blasphemous against Christianity or against religion, but against ancient powers and beings, it isn't okay. It's not kosher in the occult community.
Hmm.
Because then you're offending somebody's God. But you have to understand, I wasn't trying to offend gods. What
Yes.
I was doing was cursing my own self for clinging to the belief structures themselves. Because when you're actually blaspheming, you're not blaspheming the powers that be. And this is something that when you first start to do it, you can make the mistake because you're sitting there and you're thinking, fuck God, fuck Jesus, and fuck the devil, and fuck this and fuck that, and flipping them off and building yourself up into this fervor of blasphemic energy, this satanic mentality, for lack of better words, where there is no other master. And where your concentration should be is towards the blockages and the boundaries that you have set up in your mind so that you can break past them. What's your thoughts on that, man?
Well, let me see. They were giving me this, Satan is evil and whatnot, and like I begin to see from knowing Bible stories and whatnot, this Jehovah character, he's like a real mean motherfucker. Okay, there's a blasphemy right there. And I'm thinking, well, maybe Satan maybe he's a nice guy, you know. And I call that folk Gnosticism. And it happened in Spain because the aristocracy were such scumbags when dealing with the peasants, and they claim you're on the side of God. The peasants thought, well, maybe the Satan is like the good God, and these guys are like total assholes. And that became like the beginnings of the witch cult, the satanic witch cult in Spain. Michelet, which a lot of people don't give much credit for, wrote a whole book on the subject called La Sorcerer, or the Sorceress, also known as Satanism and Witchcraft. And there are many different titles. It was translated by 5 different people. But it doesn't get much credit because most people don't realize he was writing in the form of novels. It was like a novel depicting history. So they say, oh, this is inauthentic and whatnot. Of course it's inauthentic. It's a historic novel.
Yeah.
But his thesis is all right, that the peasants turned against the aristocracy in the church because they were mean motherfuckers.
Hey, can you do me a favor, brother? Have you got YouTube up?
YouTube? Yes, I do.
Okay. On the tab, go to where the video is playing. Down on the bottom left, find it's a little microphone looking thing. Hit mute on it if you don't mind, sir.
What do you want me to do?
Go to the YouTube page where our video is playing.
What's playing?
Our video, the one we're doing now.
Oh, the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I probably have to sign in because I'm using a different browser. Okay, YouTube.
Just trying to fix the feedback squelch.
YouTube. Okay. Search YouTube. This Chrome browser, they should have a separate search thing. The search is in the address browser. It really is confusing. Okay, I got YouTube. All right, let me sign in. Oh, I'm already signed in. Okay, what do you want? What do you want me to do?
Go to our video and the bottom left of the screen.
Our video, what is it? It's
well, just you can go to any of them and just press the mute thing.
Mute. Okay. Yeah, I did that.
Today is chapter 7 of the Girl Defined book, and they're going to talk about what.
Yeah, mute that. Okay, there we go.
Okay, well, I did that in Foxfire, but that didn't help us, did it? Okay.
No.
Good.
Okay. So maybe that'll fix it. We'll get back to what we was talking about. Sorry about that, y'all. But Frank, one of the most important things I wanted to go over with you was let's think about the Luciferian spirit, the rebellious spirit.
Yes.
You know, you are a huge proponent of fucking Luciferianism of anybody I've ever met. You know, with your monthly rites you do.
I do a ritual every full moon to Lucifer.
Yeah, and that's my point. When you think Lucifer, most people think light bearer and all this other stuff.
Oh wait a minute. Well, this is my elder sign protective pendant. This is my Luciferian pendant, and I sent you one, didn't I?
Yes, sir.
There we go. Silver. I wear this all the time. I even sleep with it. About the only time I take it off is when I'm taking a shower. By the way, this little sucker, when I had my automobile accident, I was knocked unconscious, had a few bone bruises, but they said it could have been worse. We don't know what happened. I know what happened. It was my elder sign. Oh, let me take this off. I was wearing this when it happened. And, this, I think, is what helped me a great deal. By the way, this is the only one there is in the world. I had this custom made by a Polish jeweler.
Oh yeah, dude, it's fucking beautiful.
Yes.
But the point of what I was bringing up with though is that with that rebellious spirit of Lucifer,
Mm-hmm.
rebellion spurs or causes, or maybe not causes, but it definitely creates that blasphemic spirit inside us
Mm-hmm.
because we're always trying to free ourselves from bonds, from
Mm-hmm.
boundaries, from limits.
Mm-hmm.
And what I think so cool, and this is why I wanted to do this, while Saturn is in retrograde,
Yes.
uh, and anytime a planet goes retrograde, what it's affecting is the internal us. So our internal boundaries, our internal, limits.
Mm-hmm.
And blasphemy is a great way to get past your limits.
Well,
Sometimes,
retrograde, also known as bad planets, in Indian Jyotish, in Indian astrology, you can make up, scratch it into a piece of copper, or even do it on parchment or even paper that remedies the retrograde effects if it's affecting you negatively.
yeah. But I was thinking about this though today that here lately, I don't know, I went to backing off of social media and I went to trying to rewind and just kind of come back to ground zero. You and I were talking about this today,
Mm-hmm.
and like I have a practice that's not like anybody else's, and it's that it should never, things can mimic other things, but they should never be exactly like somebody else's.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that was the rebellious spirit of this is me, this is my style, this
Yeah.
has everything in it that I want in it.
Mm-hmm. I have a hard time when I explain my technique and methods to other people because there are things that have become second nature, and I always leave that out. I have to remember people are just starting out, or they haven't gotten as far as I have. So I got to rethink things step by step when I explain things to people.
Well, my wife is the first one to tell me that that when I'm talking to people, I act like they already know shit.
Yeah.
And and I just keep going that I can go over people's heads.
Yes. Yes. I got called at the social club I go to. I got called a savant today. Well, she's a few years younger than I am. She's in her mid 50s. She said, "Oh, you're a savant. Okay, I can deal with that."
You are a bit of a savant, man. I mean, you got to think all these years of knowledge and experience and understanding and wisdom that you actually have, man.
Well, it's also one of the definitions of a wizard, someone who either practices magic, but possibly science, medicine, or law. Right? You had to be like multidisciplinary. That was a wizard, according to one definition. So, being trained as a scientist and working in science for a while, and doing magic at the same time, I guess that by that definition makes me a wizard.
Yeah. Is no. I like to use you as an example in a lot of things, and the reason why is because with age comes wisdom, if you're lucky.
Oh, as you can, let me get over here. Okay, anyone see? I'm an old codger.
Yeah, my boy, he's 65, y'all. He kicking it.
65. Yes. Wait a minute. See that? Still black.
Yeah, no hair coloring there, y'all.
Well, down by the sides, I do hair coloring because that part turned.
Damn it, Frank! I was trying to make him think you did not have hair dye in your hair.
Well, I do the sides. You know. Well, there's one thing having like very youthful looking face and gray.
Oh, but
My eyes look a little puffy because I wore eyeglasses for most of my life, so it's like puffy around. Until that eventually they say that goes away.
yeah. But with blasphemy, one of the things that I like to do with it is, for example, with some of the things that I've been working on here lately, I had to back away from what everybody else expects or wants. Step back, step
Mm-hmm.
into my own world, and be like, okay, this is what I expect. This is what I want.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a form of rebellion. That's a form of blasphemy because face it, when everybody's, you know, trying to fit in, everybody's trying to conform, trying to do this and do that, you know, you can't do that. You know, we walk a path that was supposed to be individualistic as fuck. It's not supposed to be like a herd mentality thing. It's not a religion. You can call it a religion. You can call witchcraft a religion for that, you know, for that matter of fact. But when it comes to like occult practices and things like this, it is supposed to be so varied, so individual, so different that, you know, there might be similarities, but there's not like a, oh, I practice exactly what that dude practices.
Well, they say astronomy is the king of sciences and mathematics is the queen of science. Magic is the emperor of science.
Math is the emperor of science.
Yes. Magic is the emperor of science. If astronomy is the king of science and mathematics is the queen of science.
Oh,
Magic
okay.
is the
I
emperor.
thought you were trying to hurt my fucking head, man. You make me think too hard. But one of the cool joys of working with someone like you is the fact that I can hand you a right, and no matter what your belief structure, you're able to actually work.
Well, that's my Gnostic outlook. You could adapt any religion, any belief system, or whatever to the Gnostic theory of the universe. Well, the modern Gnostic, the holographic theory. And I'm going to be doing a video on that soon. But let me see. Well, you can adapt anything. It's universal. Well, let's take an example of another famous blasphemer, Franz Mesmer, allegedly the discoverer of hypnotism. No, he developed a theory to explain hypnotism, and he practiced the occult, but he was an atheist occultist. Right. To him, what replaced God for him was a mysterious force that permeated the universe he called animal magnetism. So he was a magician and an atheist at the same time.
You know, I've studied on animal magnetism. It's based on thought and just pure instinct, right?
Well, it's actually supposedly, as a matter of fact, I could do mesmerism. I'm not pretty good at braid hypnosis, you know, look into my eyes and concentrate on the pendulum. But I could do, you know, make passes over people and induce a magnetic trance. I could do that pretty fast, within a matter of seconds, maybe 2 or 3 passes and you're under.
Oh yeah. You know, I like how you do that. I look at the universe as fucking non-existent. You know, I've had serious, deep-ass conversations about it. You know, there's some people who they believe in a divine being or a source.
Yeah.
And all things are going to go back to it and all this, that, and the other. And I've got a rather strange view of it's not necessarily nihilistic, but it is it does center around the void or nothingness or not.
Well, it's kind of like from H.P. Lovecraft, the pipes of Azathoth, you know, sonic wave. Well, it's actually intersecting wave patterns, right? The interference pattern forms matter. So it's kind of like mindless unless there's a mind to give it a mind.
Exactly, and I refuse to give it my mind unless it serves me.
That's right. That's right.
You know, that's one of the things that you and I discussed probably close to 2 years ago. Was what makes a connection a connection.
Well,
but two ends agreeing that the other exists.
What Azathoth gets from us is a sense of existing. He needs our thought patterns to get a sense that he is. And that's the mystery. That's the mystery of creation. The so-called creative principle or creative deity. If it's not like a deity as Christians imagine or other religions, it needs our thought patterns to give it a sense of being. That's what he gets from us, and what we get from him, it depends upon, you know, how we concentrate or whatnot. It's kind of like, because there are so many people, we live in the mundane world and whatnot. We're all tied down to our preconceived beliefs that we were dealt with. Somehow we can free ourselves from that anything goes.
Yeah, but what requires to break that?
What will require to break that?
Blasphemy.
Blasphemy, yes.
Because okay, so check it. This is the point I've been getting at. Okay, so like, let's say for example, I say I agree on a thought. I'm Waylon. I'm sitting here in this living room. I'm being recorded. Okay,
Mhm.
and I'm zooming through the universe at all of you out there, and doing all that crazy, weird mumbo jumbo bullshit. Uh, like, let's say that I agree on that for just 1 second. Let's say that I'm Waylon and this is an experience that I'm having that I'm doing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now here's blasphemy in action. Blasphemy is when I sit here and I think to myself, none of this is real, none of this exists. And I sit here and I look up and I decide to get up and start walking about and acting as if this did not happen. Now, this would still be happening. This would still be occurring as long as my video camera was on and everything else. To the viewer, this shit would still be going on. But to me, in my mind, had not. Well, that's called disassociation.
Mm-hmm.
Dissonance. I think it's dissonance. It's a really fancy fucking word. Uh, so forth and so on. But that's the point where I disagree on the concept of necessarily on the thing that we have to accept that a thing exists for it to exist. Because if that was the case, then we exist only because we think we exist. And no matter how deep and out there my thoughts are, I'm still aware of one thing. I'm aware of this. I'm
Mm-hmm.
aware of consciousness within. And then I'm made aware that, holy shit, what the fuck is this? And it's the shell that I hide in, or that I abide in, or that I walk around in, or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that these ancient beings, I think that these forces that are beyond our concepts that we can understand or put together, I think that they're a little bit different. I don't think I think that blasphemy opens the door to them. I really do, because when you think outside of the box, how do you think outside of the box? But when you sit there and you say there's something more than this,
Mm-hmm.
maybe blasphemy is a bad choice of words to describe this. But when you're in a disagreement of something, you're destroying it. And if you're destroying it, but it goes along with everybody else's belief system that they want to hold in place and say, oh no 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 no, it's no other fucking way, then that's blasphemy to them.
Well,
And that's what I mean by blasphemy.
everyone's supposedly edgy. That reminds me of the new Sabrina, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Well, they have the gay girl character, right? And she's tomboyish and whatnot. If they really want to be edgy, have a tomboyish girl who turns out to be heterosexual. There was someone, what's her name? Jessie Milestone did a whole video because she's a bit tomboyish, even though she's in her late 30s or mid 30s, something like that. And she like carried on about it. Well, I'm not gay. I'm just tomboyish. But if they wanted to be edgy, really wanted to challenge how people think, they would have made the character, a boyish girl who was heterosexual. It was stereotypical.
Yeah.
The boyish girl has to be the lesbian and all other crap.
Well, it's just because in this day and age, anything that goes on TV or is going to be aired or anything goes across the radio, it has to be GQ for everybody.
Yeah.
And that's all they're doing is playing their part.
Yep.
I myself, I haven't caught it. I have no idea what you're talking about. I guess I could look it up or check it out, but
Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I could zip file 2 seasons and send it to you. It's pretty good. It's pretty good, except for that one thing,
or I could just subscribe to Netflix and check it out.
Oh yeah, it's on Netflix to both seasons.
Oh yeah, but
well, if you have Windows 10, no, you do have to pay for it. That's right. Yeah. Well, you have a click on the startup where you can go directly to the Netflix from the startup system.
well, like I was saying, blasphemy might be a bad word to put here, but understand that when I use the word blasphemy, it goes along the lines of what I've been saying for months now. You have to take these words that everybody has a definition for, and you have to redefine what they actually absolutely mean. The closer to what you want them to do is, what you got to kind of give it to them. It's kind of like writing your own language.
Iconoclasm. Yeah, iconoclasm. That's a bit like blasphemy too.
Yeah, and that's a really big word to chew on. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that.
Iconoclast is supposedly someone who defies convention and conventional beliefs and whatnot. Basically the same thing as blasphemy, but outside of religious context.
Yeah. Well, like I have a really good friend and brother, John Vermillion, just put out a book, and I got to say that book is going to blow some fucking minds. Seriously, that's wow, that's thinking outside the fucking box and taking the mind, body, and soul with it.
Mm-hmm.
Long trip. Messiah Kalux. If you haven't, go check out John Vermillion, Eon Sophia Press, or Miskatonic Books on pre-order.
Yeah.
Sorry, had to do that. A shout out for my brother.
Well, I think I have a couple from Miskatonic. By the way, I have the Miskatonic diplomas. You want to become a doctorate of philosophy and occultism? Okay, I'll send you a diploma for your birthday.
I don't even have to earn it, folks. All I gotta do is put my name on it. Yeah, I love that shit. But it's like, I swear though, it's like the Necronomicon. You try to rewrite that, rework that, and do this, that, and the other, and you have everybody underneath the sun. They argue that the book's not fucking real. And you come in and you bring and you totally expand on it, like blow their fucking minds that if they actually did the workings out of it, it would just have this just huge effect, and and they would actually get something out of it. And they're like, "What are your resources?" It's like fake ones that you say aren't real and don't work and are fake as fuck.
Well, as I must have posted this about 50 times on the old Yahoo groups and whatnot. Okay. The Key of Solomon was not written by Solomon. The 6 and 7 books of Moses was not written by Moses. Okay. So the Necronomicon is a made-up book. Okay. So too bad. It still works.
Hell yeah. And it's and I rewrote it, put it together, and gave you quite a few rituals to work with, and one of them you went did all this, that, and the other. Did you call those fake? And I don't mean fake because you did them, but did you get did something happen actually doing them?
Something happened. A little bit. I had a little bit of a sensation. What comes with me ritual is nothing much happens during the ritual, but as I live on in life, things happen.
Yeah, it unlocks a door. A slow trickle effect. Yep.
Yep. I had like pretty vivid dreams that night and whatnot. But as I was doing the ritual, I was hoping the sheriff doesn't drive by. Because I'm wearing.
Sheriff don't come by. Why's that? Cause I'm loaded for bear. Ooh, green everywhere.
I'm wearing my black cape and having 4 candles and a little alcohol stove in the center of it and all that stuff.
Which I will tell you a funny story. And because it has been so long, I don't think that within 18 years, I don't think I get in trouble for telling this story. So here I am sitting down, and I have a GP on me, or a QP on me, and it is broke down in dimes and quarters, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness! And I have 2 lighters, and a cop stops, and I am loaded down, and he's like, sees me smoking, he's like, come here, and I'm like sitting there going, oh shit, man, oh shit. I go, he said, yes sir. He says, you got a lighter? Yes, sir, I sure do. And I mean, I was thinking for a lighter. I had him a lighter, and he's just looking at me kind of funny. He says, thank you. He goes light his cigarette. And I'm like, no. You can keep that one. I have another one.
Well, during the heroin epidemic, I did volunteer for something called Operation Outreach. Well, I was in security and all other crap, and whatnot. This was just something like a public service. And the head of the organization, he was a psychiatrist. He was from Turkey. He would hand us a little plastic bag with 3 joints. Okay, I figured, okay, this is to get the kids in, because heroin was the big problem. So we'd be there smoking a joint with a hand on this great place to hang out called Operation Outreach, and get the kids into Operation Outreach. But one of the times the police go by and they see us smoking a joint, and they knew we were with Outreach, so they decided to leave us alone. But then, don't repeat that because that was a government project. They don't want the public to know they were handing out. Well, the philosophy was pot ain't as bad as heroin, and that was the problem back then.
You say that, and this is a video that is going to stay on YouTube. What the hell, brother?
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think there's anyone in Washington right now that remembers Operation Outreach.
Fuck it, man. Just embrace Lucifer and be like, blasphemous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Give us our green. We'll go away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Light it up. It will get high. But no, seriously, that is messed up. Yeah, I've heard a lot of stuff like that. One of the things that I used to work with was beings that would help you stay invisible. Because there was a certain small point or time in my life where it was like, I was trying to make a living and all this, that, and the other, and would sell stuff on the side, which that was then young, dumb, and all that other good stuff. And I always had a rule of thumb. It was nothing that was going to put me away for 20 plus years. It what you know what I'm saying? I mean, like green was like the worst thing I would be fucking carrying around with me. And it was always funny because everybody that I was told to, they were always like, hey man, why don't you sit and smoke some with me? It's like, I can't smoke it. Well, how do you know if it's any good? So then it turned into I had to smoke it before I ever sold it, so I know whether it was any good or not. And that led to some very interesting times in my life. And when you're talking about summoning spirits that are supposed to keep you invisible, here's an idea, and this is where I come up with that saying of, it takes a sober mind. Just because you think you're invisible doesn't mean you're invisible. Mm-hmm. Remember the Emperor's New Clothes? Here's an idea. That dude was butt fucking naked.
Well, when you do, I did some of that stuff. When you do invisible, what the people actually see is like a black, shadowy spot. That's what's actually in their eyes because you block out your perception of you as a person, and what they perceive is this black shadowy thing which they don't notice.
Yeah, one of the tricks that I use is and then I'll put this out there for anybody who might be interested in it. So like what I'll do is I'll ask a guardian spirit that I'm working with closely, that like for example my watcher, and I'll ask that he'll mask my form on the astral. Mm-hmm. And when they do this, people are less likely to pay attention to you, to see it, blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. And I found that to be the most effective, useful tool I've ever used. For example, let's say that you're a young lady and you've got to walk here and you got to walk there and you're tired of being pestered. Hey man, you want to ride? And like, no, I don't want to fucking ride because ride's not what you want. So what I would suggest doing is, figure out whether working with a guardian spirit to mask your presence on the astral that you not be noticed, sensed, felt, known. Cover your bases. You don't have to get too explicit with it. Just be like, mask my form on the astral that I may not be noticed.
Mm-hmm. I have to make a piss stop and pour myself a cup of coffee.
Go for it, man. I'm gonna keep chatting then. So,
okay.
So
too bad I can't see the questions people are asking.
Well, when I ask questions, I will enter Oversoul asked if we were still talking about the chilling adventures of Sabrina.
Yeah. Well, it's worth seeing if you can get it for free.
And if not, I guess you pay and you watch it. But
I get a Netflix subscription, you got it. But I found a site where I can download it for permanent play later.
I didn't know what was going on in this, and I thought you were wanting to talk about it. I was like, okay, I guess we can. To veil the form on the astral, it's pretty powerful. Oh, and John shows up just in time. Man, you missed it, brother. When you get a chance, you go back and hit playback. About 5 minutes ago, I was talking about your book. So, so John Vermillion out there in chat, that is my boy there with a site called Luxa on Eon, Sophia Press, and Miskatonic Books. Drinking coffee from my lovely Lion King coffee cup because it has a lion on it. Who don't like lions? All right. So anyway, getting back to the subject, one of the things that I really, really, really wanted to go in depth on was blasphemy. Uh, you can definitely tell that that Frater Nebo, he is his own person. He has his own personality, his own thoughts. But I had to have him on here with me to do this. But for blasphemy, one of the main points that I was trying to make or come across with in this thing is that with blasphemy, it's not that you're trying to make enemies of the spirit world or anything like that. But when you get caught up in a hard place where you're trying to break cycles, uh, hell, for that matter, when you're trying to walk certain gates, yes, you have to be blasphemous. I mean, you have to. Think of the obscene ones in the clip off. What is that? Even the poisoners of God. All these different things. I don't know why it keeps popping in the screen, but every one of these things, they're a form of blasphemy, and not blasphemy against the Holy Trinity or whatever Christian religion, but just in general. And so you want to kind of use that power to your advantage, and that's how you would do it. Yeah, right, man. I don't know. It just keeps popping back and forth.
Okay. Got myself a cup of Joe here. Do people still call it Joe? They did when I was a kid. They called it Joe.
I called a couple Joe a couple of years ago when I was at a coffee shop.
Really? Okay. Was it filled with old codgers or something like that? Or just...
Nope. New age, young hippie hipster types, and
Okay. Yes.
but I was raised up back in the '80s from people that came up in the '50s calling it Joe.
Mm-hmm.
So go figure. I
They,
think just product raising.
they also called it Java, but coffee hadn't came from Java since the end of World War. You know, the Java coffee plantations were bombed out by the Japanese during the war. So
Destroying all those beautiful, beautiful coffee beans.
well, it took till like the 1970s for it to come back. But there's still Java is still available. It became available there by the 1970s.
Yeah. So I myself, I'm a huge espresso fan. I love espresso. It's like
Espresso, yes.
I would own an espresso
Machine. You jammed up a bit. Okay, you jammed up and dropped out for a moment.
All right, I have no idea what the hell that was.
I know it's they haven't perfected the internet completely yet. But
You know why I disappeared? Because I'm sorry, I had to do that. I saw that in a meme. Couldn't help myself.
you're also trailing. You know, you're going in slow motion.
I'm over here being I'm being a clown today. I don't know. That's not a clown. God damn it, I hate clowns.
Oh yeah. I never took it very funny. When I was a kid, there was a clown TV show called Bozo, and some kid says something nasty, and Bozo tells the kid, "That's a bozo, no," and the kid goes, "Shove it, clown." I just television was live then. The kid goes, "Shove it, clown." Yeah.
Holy shit, man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the fuck happened to Hangouts, but now it's not switching around. Oh well. I guess I can look at you. Wait, hold on. I'll put it back. This is me doing it. Okay, that's all I got. Couldn't help myself, man. I apologize for that.
Okay.
Bad sense of humor. But no, seriously, I really hate that meme because I can't get it out of my head. I've seen it like just about everywhere. It's that guy doing that magic thing with his fingers running down. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, all I'm missing now is like a handful of glitter to throw every fucking where when I do that.
Mm-hmm. I have a PDF of all these like nasty magic tricks. It's kind of like a spy manual. A lot of this stuff can be weaponized, but nasty stuff.
Have you ever seen some of that old ass fucking black magic from the 80s and early to mid 90s?
You mean the black books?
Yeah, all that stuff.
I have them. I have was it Kurt Saxton's Poor Man's James Bond, the later edition in 3 volumes. I have the 4th and 5th volume in PDF. Yeah, the guy was a nutball.
Well, I'm talking about like the Book of Doom and all that other stuff, man.
Oh, Book of Doom. Yes, yes. I spoke to Carl Weiss over the phone. Yes.
Yeah.
I want to I want to be selling his internal tarot, but I should give him a call. I'm interested in selling it. What would you want for the copyright? Something. Well, you have the Infernal Tarot.
Loves my Infernal Tarot. That's what I'm talking about. Is like that old school black magic like that. A lot of it before you could ever read the Infernal Tarot, and this is the audience out there, is that so check it. You would say the Lord's Prayer backwards, but now it was given in Latin.
Oh, that we learned. I learned that in the '70s. That was in Paul Hudson's book. Say the Lord's Prayer backward, burning a black candle.
Well, see, that's what I'm talking about. That old black magic. Well, they call it black magic, but it was a form of blasphemy. And what it would do is it would change your energy structure of yourself, so that when you were doing these callings, it would actually empower them instead of weaken them.
Well, I didn't have to do much to like repulse Christianity from my being because I kind of like did that naturally coming to the belief system as a kid.
Yeah. Well, see, Ender, he's talking about remote viewing. That was something. Oh, I enjoy playing around with that, testing that out to see if my sight's actually all that and then some. Here's a good test. Just randomly, when you wake up, don't look at a clock, don't look at a timepiece. Just off the top of your head, try to name what time it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good test. And what that'll do is that'll let you know how closely attuned you are to actual natural cycles and energies. And then from there you can go from visualizing a buddy of yours. Try to see just their clothing first, not them, just their clothing. Try to see their surroundings, things of this nature. Remote viewing is one of the coolest fucking things out there. It's also used in magic when we're trying to target somebody, whether for healing, cursing, whatever you're doing. Because the more you can tap into their energy, the more you can, know who they are, know them, know their surroundings. It's like, for example, my house. I've been noticing that every time I do these videos or whatever, I've always wondered, well, I wonder how many actual talented people there are that can actually step through, and can I sense them? Can I feel them? Am I aware of when they're tapping into me? Stuff like this. And it's all a game for me because, and here's what I mean by that. For example, some people probably won't be thinking about it until I just said something about it. But the thing is that when I'm sitting here and I'm doing this, what I'm doing is I'm not attaching myself energetically to the audience. I'm just sitting here disconnected, but I'm in my own little world. Now, if somebody else wanted to tap in or something like that, people who do readings and stuff, some are actually kind of good at that. Some not so much so, but haha, Andrew, I'm not telling you what you're holding.
Well, what was it?
I'll say that on here.
I just saw some videos with Teresa Capullo. Who's like a total phony. The only thing good about her, she has a great set of jugs. But we won't go into that. But it goes into the guy who came up with the video explained blank reading, that hot reading where she has intelligence agents through organization. Finds out a lot about the people. One interesting thing, a lot of medium or spiritualist churches do is you fill out a billet, but it's on card and it slips into the envelope and you can't fold it. What they do is spray the envelope, it's sealed envelope. They spray it behind the counter. They spray it with lighter fluid, and that soaks through the paper, and you can read what the billet says. Oh, it says, oh, let me see. Oh, you lost an uncle you liked dearly. Oh, how did she know? How did he or she know that? You know, they freak out. It's all part of the system. And it's another great book called The Occult Mafia. You can probably find it at Amazon. Goes through all these tricks. But even so, there are genuine mediums, and the Spiritist Church keeps a record on them, and so does the American Theosophical Society. So if you run into a medium and you're suspicious of them, check the American Theosophical Society or the Spiritist Church. If they're phonies, they'll have them registered as a phony.
Well, Darius, that's in my left hand, bro.
What's that?
Right hand, left hand. Magic. I'm sorry, I gotta quit doing that. I don't know what the fuck. I can't stop doing it. All right, so let's talk about remote viewing for just 1 second. So back years ago, I was always like, I was really good at being able to pick up on things, because the way I would do it is like with my mind. My father taught me how to astral project.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it took me a few years to realize that astral projection and actual projection is the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about your mind, where your consciousness goes. So I would go like right out my front door, hit a road and go down, you know, and see what was what, and things of that nature. And then I would start flight trips, which is like flying in the air instead of, you know, following the road. Follow the air, go to the city, try to keep up with where areas of lights and darkness are. Come down, go up, you know, stuff like that, and try to keep up with it so that later on I could draw it out and see how accurate I was with this. And then like go on Google Earth or something, you know, and find out just how accurate I was. And the funny thing is that I had a really good friend that years later he kind of cracked. He kind of lost his mind. I don't know if it was because he was paranoid or what it was, but he was telling me that the government runs all these secret programs and stuff, and that they've got like all these remote viewers and all this other stuff. And I was like, man, that'd be a really cool fucking job.
The remote viewing experiments came to an end because the remote viewers kept on getting freaked out and were having all kinds of emotional problems, mostly because God isn't always on our side.
Right.
Their conscience got to them. We're doing something wrong with this.
Yeah, well, my buddy, he was telling me that, you know, they got all these things, and he was like, no, man, you wouldn't really want that job. They blah, blah, blah. They would imprison you. You'd never be out in the free world and blah, blah, blah. And I kept asking him, I'm like, why? He's like, because if they think that you can do this, then they would know absolutely that you are a threat. And I'm sitting there going, okay, first off, I'm not paranoid enough to think that that's what my government's doing. Second off, I was like, well, screw it. I'll do the next best thing. At the time, they had this guy on TV called John Edwards that used to talk to the dead. And I was like, I talk to the dead. That's pretty fucking cool, man. You know, I was like, you know, I'm going to be bigger than John Edwards.
He's another blank reader.
What do you mean blank?
Blank reading is a technique that swindlers use. It's kind of like you say, you get in front of an audience of like about 300 people and you go, there's someone here named John. You know, of course there's going to be someone named John. John lost someone recently. Well, they're seeing, you know, a psychic performance. They've lost someone recently. You know, that's called blank reading. There are more specific examples. I don't know. I go through my files. Maybe I can find a PDF I can send you on the subject. By the way, a good resource, I'd like to recommend this to anyone who's listening, even though I can't see them listed, is this Solar Vision Publications. They have these short little monographs. They're not cheap. They're like $12 a piece, but they're like nicely, intensely written, well written, and to the point. Solar Vision Publications on many different subjects, including a few cookbooks.
Hold on a second. I'm going to write that down.
Solar Vision Publications.
Yeah, I'll put that in there. All right. Well, it was like, for example, my brother was telling me back when he was I don't know, going through basic for SEAL training or something.
Mhm.
He's talking about that they used super concoctions of like vitamins and stuff, keep the boys rolling. You know, I don't know whether they do or they don't. I mean, just because it says it doesn't.
They call it vitamin mixture, but it's loaded with amphetamines.
Well, that's kind of what he was saying, you know. And yeah, he had a weird mark on his like forearm right there where it looked like an injection site. But for what I fucking know, man, he put his arm up against something. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
You know, plus
Well, there are drugs that will cause lesions in the skin, particularly if they're powerful mind-altering drugs.
yeah.
Famous was when they were using barbiturates, which they hardly ever use anymore. It used to leave bar burns. Actually, look like burns in the skin. Bar burns. And barbiturates did that. Yes, phenobarbital, which they used to hand out like it was candy. And they gave it to kids. I remember being put on phenobarbital as a kid. One of the reasons, an old physician, a lady friend of mine, her father was a physician, says, we had to do that in the 50s because parents would slap kids around ridiculously if they misbehaved. They expected kids to be like Leave It to Beaver. And kids got knocked around big time, so I figured it was better to sedate them so they stay quiet and don't get knocked around because there weren't the laws protecting children back then. He says, we had to do it, or else these kids would have been killed.
Well, that's funny you say that. My baby brother, this was back in 85,
Mm-hmm.
86, something like that. They had him on phenobarbital, and I'm not gonna lie, we went to a Pittsburgh Pirates baseball game, and we were way up on top of the bleachers, and he'd had his medication, and they made sure he didn't have cold drink and all this other stuff. This kid about went jumping off the top balcony because he was so wound up.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen anything like it. You know, I'm glad that they can't just, put that stuff on kids nowadays. But, it's about as bad as, you show any sign of having a personality, and all of a sudden, you have ADD, you have ADHD, you have this, you have that.
The war
Things to keep pharmacy in control. I don't fucking know.
It's called the war against boys. Apparently, with all this feminism in the colleges and whatnot, they're taught that boys are defective girls. That's what they're taught in college. This is malignant. So if a boy acts like a boy, they think, oh, he needs drugs, whatnot. There was one parent actually tricked the teacher into saying what specific drug, and she put it in the form of a letter. Oh, she wrote out a prescription. Let me take her to court. So she got busted for practicing medicine without a license. Writing the letter was a prescription by law. So
Yeah, see, there's so much of this weird shit happening.
Oh yes,
and it makes no sense, And I don't know if I'm of the school of thought that's like this right here.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way they can come in. A government cannot come in and just straight up out of the blue just decide to call this law, this law, this law, this law, and put it into complete and total action. They've got to do this slowly over time, and so that none of us are aware it's happening.
Well, I was fortunate enough to be sent to Jesuit summer school, where I not only learned how to read quite well, also Latin and Greek roots. I can do word analysis, and I can agglutinate a new word out of Latin and Greek roots, which even guys with frickin' PhDs can't do. And I did from Jesuit school.
Yeah, see, I mean, there's lots of things. I don't come on here and I don't say a lot of these things, and it's not because I'm afraid of the public or Big Brother or anybody like that. It's just because personally, I feel my mind is what I want to fill it with, and normally it's not this. But it is bad when I sit here and I think I know how life was 20 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and all these things that I've watched slowly implemented. I was, my goodness, man, we were drunk as fuck at a party when the towers were hit, and and that sobered the shit up out of all of us. It wasn't much longer after that. My brother was joining the Navy SEALs. A buddy of mine went and joined the Air Force, and because of health oddities or whatever, I could never join, which that's neither here nor there. They had all these, it was like a body drive, if you will. It was like how to get more people in here.
A matter of moments, I knew it was a setup. One thing, Bin Laden was supposedly a defender of, or former of Islam. Islam, their rules of warfare make the Geneva Convention look, look a little bit shallow because you don't make war against civilians, women, and children, and that's what you don't attack civilians. That's one of the rules of Islamic warfare.
Yeah. And one thing I'd like to throw out there to all the viewers here is that if you think about what we're sitting here and we're saying, this stuff in a certain context, this would be taken as blasphemy.
Yes.
So this is what I'm saying. There's no such thing as it just applies in one area. It applies in all areas. Anytime you fight the system, the status quo, every time, and I don't mean challenge it. I mean just anytime you question it. It's seen as blasphemy, heresy, just fanaticism. It's this, that, or the other, and that's why it's important that we take a balanced approach to how we react to it, as opposed to just straight up balls to the wall. Let's throw the monkey up against the ceiling or something. We can't do that because then you're seen as radicals, or you're seen as this, or you're seen as that. To maintain your voice in society, you have to tame it down so much to where you're not a threat. But at the same time, your words have to carry the weight of a sane, rational person.
Well,
the battle that we're truly fighting.
I had federal agents here 3 times since the first Gulf.
Do what now?
I had federal agents visit the house and question me 3 times. Well, they took me to some place for an interview, interrogation. Took me someplace for an interview. Right. The 3rd time they visited me at the house and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I think the cops, if they've ever come to my house, man, they've never been looking for me. Woo, go skaters. But some of the things though that they have is like, for example, and I've heard of this. I've heard of people, having federal agents of some form or another show up. I've seen some people scared to death of their fucking cable guys coming in, changing out stuff, and I'm just like, okay, seriously? Maybe on their end there is a problem with your hardware and it needs replaced. Maybe it's not really Big Brother trying to plant the super bug that's going to listen in on every conversation you have.
Well, let me see. I believe it was the last time they did not have a warrant. And we're like, really? It was a male and female. I'm thinking, what the hell is this? X-Files. Oh, we're with the FBI. I'm thinking, oh, how special.
Of course, Frank's in there going, yes, you've come to the right place. I can direct you where to get off. You see that short pier? I need you to take a really long walk off that motherfucker.
Well, they wanted to see my temple room.
Your temple room? What for?
I don't know. They got tipped off that I had a temple room.
What'd you have in your temple room?
Temple stuff. You seen it? I did a tour of it.
I like fucking with you, Frank. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it probably was turned over to the House Committee on Un-Protestant Activities or something.
Protestant activities happen at your house, Frank.
Yeah.
Really?
Was it? I don't know. They were interested in the temple. They were interested in all the people I knew and whatnot and things like that. They kept on no, never heard of him, never met him, don't even know that, don't know that guy, know this guy. Rattle up a whole bunch of names.
Yeah. Well, it's like John Vermillion here. He's saying, I was once questioned at an old place of work. They started out asking me, what do you know about ETs and ET technology? You ever had that happen to you, Frank?
Not ET. Well, first time they asked, no anthrax or whatnot. I'm not playing with anthrax. This was due. XP had a system where if you do advanced mathematics, it notifies the national security agents. It notifies the FBI and the national security agents. So I think it was through XP. I was trying to perfect the Boscovich wavefront equation, and that must have tipped them off. This computer at such and such address is doing advanced mathematics.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I ever told you this, but I think the closest to freaked out I ever got was when I installed Windows 10.
Mm-hmm.
When I was installing it, I was actually paying attention to the names of the files it was downloading and saving to my hard drive.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it went to running, I went to watching what it was saying about the processes. And I'm sitting there going, not watching me, huh? And every time we get an update, it's funny that it has to go through every file on my computer.
Mm-hmm.
Really? I'm not downloading porn. I stream that shit. No, I'm just fuck. What are you supposed to say to shit like that? You know, you know, you, the only thing they would find on my hard drive is like PDFs and be like, "Where did you get those?" And they're like, "We're gonna have to go through all your files, make sure what's in there is really what's in there." And I'm like, "It's really in there." Have you ever met me? Like I am like the occult guy. Like if it's in my head, it's been written somewhere, and that's where I got it in my head was
Mm-hmm.
where I read it somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Well, I dream about operating a computer and looking things up when I'm dreaming.
Yeah.
Then it was a dream like, well, this is getting boring. Let me change it. And I imagine a computer screen, clicked a couple of things, and I'm in a different dream. That's wild.
I'm gonna tell you something that really fucking scares the shit out of me, and I don't mean like in a paranoid way, but okay, so like I had heard a report of somebody that had been gotten for charges of kitty porn. Here's the thing:
Mm-hmm.
they weren't pedophiles, they weren't into shit like that. Now there's a lot of people who say, "Oh, that's not mine," blah blah blah. Like drop the little baggie, little baggie of ice or whatever in their fucking car, or lose their cocaine or something. Oh, that's not mine. I don't know whose that is. Try to talk about the window. But
You
what
could
on your computer, the way hackers are getting these days, and the way this shit's working out is, if you can't trust them, what the fuck? Because like there are so many things that could be put on your system. If they have a door in to see what the fuck you're looking at, they have a door in to put shit on there if they fucking want to. And then meanwhile, you go and your name gets blasted all over newspapers, and all this other shit. It's like, oh, this is real hardcore sick motherfucker right here. And so it's really hard when you look back and you see these motherfuckers that have been accused of it. Listen to the ones who are saying they didn't fucking do it. They need strapped to a fucking lie detector or something, having some kind of test done and see if they are lying about it, first off. Second off, it needs to go, some high tech computer tech needs to go in and check that shit themselves.
Mm-hmm. Well, what is it? A good program to check out every single picture or GIF, whatever, bitmap, whatever that's in your system is called Picasa. It'll go through your entire system and give you an indication of what you have in a picture form, entire computer. So if you're suspecting someone's downloading porn, download it and scan your system with Picasa. It'll pick up every single picture file there is. Picasa.
Yeah, well, Ethan's here saying, yeah, I've heard that they hide kitty porn in files, but then also the ones who do it use that to hide it themselves. That makes perfect fucking sense. I'm not saying that there aren't guilty motherfuckers out there. I'm sure that the ones that they found have. Here's the question I have. It's like, how many times have we looked at the news and found people who were charged of murder and stuff like this, and they sat in prison for like 20 fucking years? Oh, my bad. DNA just now caught up. This wasn't you, and the witness was unreliable. Found out they did it for money. All this other shit. Meanwhile, 20 years of this person's fucking life was stolen from them.
Mm-hmm.
No amount of money gives them back time. Time is not an asset in the sense that it can be covered with cash.
Well, one of the problems that is admiralty law is still in effect in the United States, and this will surprise Canadians because they broke off from admiralty. Admiralty law is still in effect in the United States. You all rise for when the judge enters the room because he is a conferred noble.
Yeah.
He's actually a conferred noble, and he has in his court he has absolute power of life and death until he goes wacko. Then they might. But in the meantime, they can do a lot of damage if they go these.
Yeah. Well, that's one of, that's one of the reasons why I don't like to pull that kind of stuff on here, because it's like, it's one of those things where sit there, be a good boy, well, don't make a scene, don't speak your mind, don't say truth, just let it go. And then there comes a time where it's like, you have the average person who's had it up to fucking here,
Mm-hmm.
And yet they're called mad or crazy. It's always the crazy gunman or the this or the that.
Extremely neurotic people perceive people who are less neurotic as psychotic.
Yeah, and I think it was Anton Vander Levay who was talking about, going against the kingdom. You can't go against the kingdom won't stand for it.
Well, if they call you crazy, that just an average schmuck, that means they're very neurotic and you're less neurotic. The two are opposites. What was it? Neuroses is a trance. Psychoses is a trance breaker. You broke out. Psychoses is people who break out of a trance. So I must be like a rip-roaring lunatic.
Oh man, I don't. It's one of those things where, like even me getting on here and doing ones on the occult or these different subjects and things, I do not mind being scrutinized. Scrutinize the shit out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Question my knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, dude, cool. Question it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want fucking sheep. I don't want fucking followers. I want fucking strong, capable, able, self-thinking, self-aware brothers and sisters to call equals. Not the rest of that shit. I don't need sheep. Sheep ain't what I want. Sheep ain't what I'm not after that. I don't care. Uh, but my thing is that empower the people. Give them this knowledge, give them this wisdom, give them this understanding. Allow them to empower their fucking self, because giving them the knowledge, it's up to them. They either become powerful with it, or they just have it and they're just sitting around doing nothing. But it's in their hands. It's whenever they decide they're going to take it up and do something with it, cool, they can.
Mm-hmm.
But with things like this, and I didn't believe this till about I think it was somewhere around 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Had a buddy of mine kept telling me, man, you gotta watch what you're saying. You gotta watch what you're saying. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I gotta watch what I'm saying. He's like, they're listening. And I'm like, what? And I didn't understand what the hell was going on. Well, starting about 9 years ago, I went to noticing about the time of, what was it? It was right after XP, Windows XP came out, the very next one, Vista. I went to noticing that you could be sitting at your computer and just say something, and all of a fucking sudden your system could act stupid. It's why I'm low key on like cell phones and stuff like that, because I mean, y'all want your conversations heard and everything just recorded. Keep up with these new phones, and they're just I read a thing in the news just yesterday, and it's local news, where they were talking about they couldn't get to this man to save him with an ambulance because he had an out of date phone. You know what my first thought was, dude? Can I buy your phone?
Yeah.
It's bad when I think like that.
Well, I have a cell phone. I hardly ever bring it to town anymore and whatnot because no one wants to call me. I got it for when I go camping because it has survival manuals and the global positioning system and all that. I have just about every single survival manual I have in the system. I put in like a little SDS card and slip it in the system. So I'm all good for survival knowledge.
Yeah, right. Oh, so Ethan Ross says, yeah, in the South, I've seen more attacks about personal belief than courts.
Yeah.
As well as Magick being attacked in child support cases a lot.
Yes. It's up here too. Yes.
Well, coming from the South, because I live in Alabama, there's not as much of that. I mean, it is, but not quite that bad. What happens here is that in this state, if you're a woman, you are blood. Oh my goodness! I don't care if you're in the right or you're in the wrong. You are blood. You need to come to Alabama. You want to get away with some shit? You need to come to Alabama, because in Tennessee, Alabama, part of Florida, Mississippi, and Georgia, holy shit! You can have the world and eat it too. You can have your cake and eat it too. You want to have 20 kids, and no matter how good the father is, you want them all to pay full amount of child support. It's going to fucking happen, whether they're good parents or whether they're bad. It's the way it is down here. And so a lot of the reasons why people do, well, a lot of reasons why people do refer to magic in situations like that is because our system down here is like that. I mean, it's just that imbalance.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know what it's like in Maine.
And what?
I don't know what it's like up there where you live in Maine, but
It's the same. It's the same. My ex-wife didn't get anything, mostly because we didn't have children, and the property. Well, I established something called persona domicitis, right, which means I'm a person of the land as opposed to an ordinary citizen who's a persona nullus, a non-person, civilly dead, and you're already considered a criminal, even though you never did anything. By establishing persona domicitis, you negate all that.
oh, you mean persona non grata?
Persona non gratis, that's when you can't enter a country. That's a passport term.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just trying to understand what I'm trying to think of the word you're using there.
Persona domicitis. You
Oh,
don't title, the land, where you live, but you're a person of that land.
right. Okay. Hell yeah. But like no matter where you go though, and this is what I try what I try to explain to people. No matter where you go, you got good and bad. No matter what, no matter what state you live in, no matter what county, unless you live in Lawrence County. Good luck.
That was one of the things. That was one of the things with about the American Civil War. The North, it was this garbage of where they could take people's land for this, that, and the other thing. In the South, people owned their land absolutely. According, I think the term is aliquot land because they patterned after the French system. Right? You're the stereotype of the guy just wearing baggy pants with one suspender, no shirts, and a battered straw hat with no shoes in his little shack. That was his. No one could take it from him. This is the laws in the South. Even if he didn't pay taxes, he was criminally charged with not paying taxes. They couldn't take his land. Well, the northern bankers didn't like that. That was one of the motivations for the Civil War.
Well, that's you know what that certainly explains down here some of the changes that they've had. Pay your taxes or it's taken, and I think it's that way in every state. Period. I don't think it's just down here. But
It wasn't in the South. With the states that became the Confederacy had aliquot property.
yeah, no, I wasn't talking about that. I was just talking about on a generalized nowadays basis.
Yes.
You know, it's funny what we're taking for granted right now. I'm just hoping like fuck that in 10 years we still have. Just the right to be able to get on here and do this. It's already getting to where the monetization of this, that, and the other, and you can only do this and you can only do that if you have so many subscribers and all this other stuff, and all these different things I've heard so many people complain and going on and on about. And honestly, I don't really know what to say or make of it. I really don't, outside of just to sit back and watch.
Well,
And see if it gets better, or see if it doesn't change at all, or see if all these people are correct in the fact that all of this shall be taken away from us. I don't know.
what's needed is we have to codify, federal law, which will in the states will follow, and dump, was it British Admiralty law, which we're still living under. Dump that garbage. We don't need it. We don't have kings and queens over here. We don't need Admiralty law, and establish a codified system of laws.
Yeah.
Like
One of the things that I staunchly stand up for, and I have since I was a kid, and it's the only thing I will say when it comes to politics. And it's probably going to be the first time I say this, and will most definitely be the last time. The government serves us, the people.
Mm-hmm.
We, the people, back them up, but we do not serve them, and that needs understood.
Right, but they got people all bamboozled and whatnot.
Well, it's just it's sad when I see so many of these people. It's like, in my state, we just got rid of a governor
Mm-hmm.
who apparently had been governor for like 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, he's taking taxpayer money and he's got a hooker girlfriend, and he is paying for her stuff and all this, that, and the other out of taxpayer money now.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what he got for being caught doing this? He resigned.
Mm-hmm.
And that was pretty much it. That's been the end of it.
Well,
Governor, she steps in and she's like, Governor Kay Ivey, and she's like, well, we're gonna clean this up, we're gonna straighten this up, held accountable. It's been 2.5 years. No accountability yet. Dude seems to be doing just fine. Still got the money he had to begin with. Still got the same hooker girlfriend. What do you do?
who knows? Well, one of the things, if a cop asks you, there are a couple of points of law. If a cop asks you for an identity, ask for a piece of paper, and you write your name out in all capital letters, make the statement, I am this person, and then put your signature and hand it back to the cop. He has to accept that as an identification because you just gave him an affidavit that says you are this person.
It's like later on, I'll go and I'll rewatch this video and I'll come to the part where my screen cut out, where it went to acting stupid. And the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pay attention to what was I saying before that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have noticed a lot of really weird shit.
Mm-hmm.
Even talking with certain of my friends, I mean, we've been doing live streams.
I'll be listening. I'm just going to grab myself a cup of coffee. I'll be listening to what you're saying.
Go for it. But, that's been seeing a lot of that where, can have conversations with people and all of a sudden, our feed gets interrupted, froze up, disconnected, all this, that, and the other. And, all kinds of really weird stuff. And who knows? I mean, I won't get paranoid about it because, whatever. What are you going to honestly do about it? You want on the internet? Well, you've got to use the technology that they're making to be able to get on the internet. To be able to keep doing it, what do you got to do? You've got to update. If you update, what comes with the updates? Software and all kinds of apps and everything else that's going to be installed on your system. And so, if you want this, are you willing to pay the price for it? And it's kind of messed up that it's like that, but it is what it is. That's like even with the cell phone. Even if you could go online on like eBay and try to buy older cell phones, thinking, whoa, I'm gonna take, this idea and just run with it. Think about it. You got to buy the phone time. Well, then the phone time says that you've got to have a contract, or you got to have some kind of account. It's just another way of keeping up with you. Therefore, then you have a name, you have an address, you have a phone number, and that's a tag. I mean, it's getting
not with track phone. I got a track phone. I'm not under any contract. I pay by month and whatnot. No contracts, no nothing, and the service is great. I just need a better phone that has more data space and whatnot. Yeah. I reach my limit because I have all these survival programs and whatnot.
Yeah, but that's what we're left with. That's what we're left facing. And this time period that we're in is, how much is too much, how far is too far. And I mean, sweet gods, man, we've signed it all away. That's why I believe in signing petitions, things like this. When you think that something's gone too far, here's the thing: add your name to a fucking list to fight it. You know what I'm saying? What's going to happen one day? You're going to sit back and no amount of signing on the dotted line or filling out these petitions is going to do any good. Because then they're going to say, oh, you're the enemy of the state because of blah, 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 and your name's on this piece of paper. What? Oh, that's your electronic signature. Well, I didn't do that. Well, it came from your IP address. How are you going to back yourself up? And before anything ever got to that degree, before it ever gets to that level, pay attention to what's going on. My email's full of I have like 2 or 3 things where I will find petitions. Well, they're constantly wanting money and all this, that, and the other. And I'm like, no, but I'll sign the petitions, you know, so forth and so on. I mean, what do you do about shit like that? Especially when you feel like there's nothing you can do. You know, that makes me want to be blasphemous as shit and be like, hey, y'all are all full of shit. You know, you need to fix this. The shit's broken. Fucking fix it. You know, it's where you just get fed up. But, you know, I have no idea. And to know where it's heading, to know what's going to go on, who knows? You know, I just hope that it's not like towards like a civil war, and not a civil war like the last one we had. But I'm talking about, you know, actual the people versus the Fed or the state or whatever, because that's a lot of the times what it seems like.
The deep state, they call it.
Yeah, well, you've got all these people. They you know they're like, oh, well, we need to start a militia. It's like, no, you don't need to start a militia. Yeah, you know, keep your weapons and stuff, but you don't need to form a militia. Maybe form a tight knit community, but don't go fitting in behind barbed wire fence that gives them a reason to try and overtake you and to throw you down before you ever stand up.
Well, that depends upon what you know about military maneuvers and whatnot. Take a look at the Taliban in Afghanistan. They've been holding off the armies of 5 different countries. 2 of the countries dropped out of the struggle. For, was it 17 years? Was it? It's going to be 18 years. They fended off armies of 5 countries for 18 years, and that's a people's militia.
Yeah, you know that's like we should have state militias. Yeah, I mean every state should have a state militia. That's actually
We have one in Maine. Yes.
well, you're lucky to live in a state that has one.
Yes.
But we need these in every state
Yes.
where it is seen as legal by the state. Hold it accountable. You know, no. Background checks on some of these people. Make sure you know they're not the dangerous. You know, go do something stupid type. You know what I'm saying? But you know, at least so that it has accountability. So
Yes.
that when they do go in numbers and protest and stuff, they know that hey, this isn't a dangerous crowd. These are people who are standing up for their rights.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because the thing is nowadays you can't even just show up in large numbers. You know, it's no longer a protest now; it's a riot, and you're like, what? You know, everybody thinks that this shit only happens on the West Coast. I mean, it happens everywhere. And I'm not talking about people with cell phones trying to start trouble online. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just in general, the
Mm-hmm.
public's eye, you know. And I don't know. No matter how many of us sit here and talk about this, no matter how much we bring the subject up, what's going to honestly change, what's going to be done about it, you know, the only 2 cents I can fucking give is be a respectable person, but be respectable in all ways, shapes, forms, and fashions. Second off, find out what you yourself can fucking do, you know, and that is blaspheming. That's blaspheming the order of things and saying, okay, you guys have gone really out of hand, gotten way out of control. You know, this is, you know, we the people, not you, the government, against us, the nobodies,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what's happening. You know, and yeah, and exactly. Speaking of Satan, I mean that it's not necessarily adversarial, but it's the opponents of. You know, I absolutely believe in that. I believe in it in a healthy degree, though. Uh, you know, are there times when I get so mad I could just beat my head up against a brick wall? Sure. I mean, there's been plenty of times throughout my life it's like that. But at the same time, I've also learned, and I don't know what the fuck it is about getting older, but I've learned that if you don't learn how to pace yourself, if you don't learn how to do it correctly and methodically and precisely, what's going to happen is they're going to make a nutcase out of you. You're not going to stand a chance, no matter what you say, no matter what form or group you support. You're going to give them a bad name. They're going to give you a bad name. But to get to all the people and say, hey, look, calm down. We've got to do this, you know, such and such a way. And until we can manage that, you know, all we're going to be seen of is dissidents. And you can't be a dissident and survive. Not the way they got it going. You just can't. You got any thoughts on that one, brother?
Was it? Well, you have the so-called, I call them the pseudo left and the pseudo right. The pseudo left is Antifa and all those. And the pseudo right are these neo-Nazi dinglings.
Neo-Nazi dinglings.
Well,
I like that. Neo-Nazi dinglings.
If they lived in Nazi Germany, would have been sterilized for being mentally deranged.
Ethan asks, isn't that the first part of Golden Dawn work? It might very well be learning how to center and find your own center, I guess, I suppose. Uh, but no, seriously, I didn't want to turn this whole, well, it's supposed to be a conversation on blasphemy into this. And so I appreciate you joining in with me on this, brother.
Politically, a lot of things are blasphemous according to the powers that be.
Exactly. So, I mean, it kept the subject.
Well, we could talk about something. Well, Christianity was blasphemous, would be considered blasphemous because the early Christians accepted homosexuals. This would drive a fundy to the grave. They so bent out of shape about it.
Yeah, it was like we were talking earlier about that, man. Every freaking belief system at one time or another embraced it. They didn't care as long as you were part of the number and help grow their thing and all this, that, and the other. And then all of a sudden, let them get enough numbers, and all of a sudden, oh, that's evil and that's wrong. That must be destroyed. And it's like, what?
Well, what happened shortly after Constantine declared Christianity the official religion of Rome, they decided homosexuality was affecting the morale of the Roman legions. So then they crushed that, and they clamped down on it.
Yeah, did you see my meme the other day with Jesus Christ says, feeling kind of cute, might let a couple of Romans nail me later, I don't know.
I didn't. Could you say that again, please?
I posted a meme on Facebook that I found somewhere of Jesus turned sideways showing his ass saying, feeling cute, might let a couple of Romans nail me later, I don't know.
Oh, yes, yeah. What was it? I saw something that shows like a rabbi, a priest, and a Muslim mullah facing, the gate of heavens and whatnot. And standing at the podium is Zeus. And all of them, it has a bubble that says, uh-oh.
Yeah, it's just, that's why it's so important. And that's why I keep pressing the point about this division in our community that we've got to bring this shit under control. This division's got to go because, unity begins with us. It first off, it begins individually with each one of us learning, okay, look, can't do this, but I can do this, and maintaining that. And when those baseline rights start being taken from you, that's when you need to start pressing it. That's when you need to start bringing it to the forefront of Congress, to your state legislation, to your congressman, woman, whatever, to your governor, to whatever, to bring this up. These are the types of things you need to be trying to enforce is, because we can't allow these things to be taken from us because it's just one step after another, after another, after another. This will never happen completely overnight. Rome wasn't built overnight. No other civilization on the face of planet Earth was, and none were changed overnight. So the burning of Rome, that was kind of weird, but that was a whole nother story, with a whole nother ending. But that's kind of funny. That thing kind of crosses my mind. It's stupid, but anywho, but in this instance, and look what it bought them. It destroyed one of the greatest libraries.
Alexandria, yes.
You've got to think of what your destruction actually is going to cost you. What you're trying to destroy, what will it cost you? You have to be very, very, very fucking conscientious about your actions and your choices and the reactions that are going to occur from them. And this is done in Magick, even not just in everyday life, but in Magick.
Well, you talk about magic, and back then, magic and science were like together in those days at the time of the Alexandrian life.
Yeah, they were.
Was that? They were considered synonymous.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I need to apologize to our audience for going off on this tangent tonight, but I would like to say thank you to each and every single one of you for joining us tonight. I don't know about Frank, but I know I enjoyed this, and hope to do more of these. I've got a few other people wanting to do live streams.
On the holographic theory soon.
Oh yeah, definitely got to go over that.
Yeah.
Next time we'll have like a whole other topic or subject. But seriously, I want to say thank you to each and every single one of you. It's fucking awesome being here. Appreciate you hanging in there.
I have no idea who's here. Maybe I know some of these people. I don't know.
Ender, Oversoul, Necro, Nikki, John Vermillion, Darius Bay, Ethan Ross, Patchwork, Mad Magician Karos, Karos, however you pronounce his name. Bunch of people, Darius Bay. Yeah.
If you can get it, do a screenshot of who's here.
I can't do stuff like that, but when you go back on and you watch the video, it'll show up. You'll see who all was here, brother.
Okay, good.
But sincerely, till next time, peace, blessings, and power.
Okay, let me sign out here.